Ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 simple words that can live in a man's mind long after you've left the room. Words so powerful they can make his heart replay you like a song he can't turn off. Words that anchor you in his memory and tie his thoughts to you without effort. Most people waste years chasing attention, trying harder, giving more, yet the truth is this: when you master these 3 words, you don't chase, you attract. You don't wonder if he's thinking of you. You know he is, because you've given his heart something unforgettable to hold on to. Have you ever wondered why some words linger in the heart long after they are spoken, while others vanish into silence as if they were never said? Words have a power that goes beyond sound. They can ignite memory, stir desire, and awaken a connection that feels impossible to shake off. The right words don't just enter the ear, they enter the soul. And when they do, they leave behind a mark so deep that the mind keeps returning to them, replaying them, until the person who spoke them becomes unforgettable. This is the hidden force you hold within you. The ability to make him think of you without chasing, without trying to control, simply by knowing which words unlock his emotions. Think about the moments in your life when a simple phrase changed everything. Maybe it gave you courage, maybe it reminded you of love, or maybe it made you feel chosen in a way you had longed for. That is the mystery of language. It shapes the way we feel about others. When he hears the right words from you, his brain ties them to you, and suddenly you're not just another person in his life. You're the one who lives in his thoughts, even when he tries not to think of you. This is not about tricks, it is about truth. It is about using your voice to express something powerful enough that it cannot be ignored. Most people underestimate the influence they already carry. They believe love must be fought for, that attention must be earned through struggle, or that to remain unforgettable they have to look a certain way or prove their worth endlessly. But the truth is simpler. Attraction begins in the mind. Desire begins in the imagination. And the heart remembers what the mind refuses to release. When you speak with intention, when you choose words that hold weight, you create a bond stronger than appearance, stronger than distance, stronger even than time. That bond lives in his mind, replaying, reminding him of you in the quiet moments when he least expects it. And here is the promise that should make you lean in and stay with me until the very end. There are 3 simple words, words you already know, that can work like keys to his thoughts. They are not the tired phrases that everyone uses, not the predictable confessions that fade after being repeated too often. These words are different. They are psychological triggers designed by human nature itself to draw him closer without you lifting a finger. They make him associate you with warmth, with connection, with possibility. They make him feel as if you are not just someone he likes, you are someone he cannot stop thinking about. Imagine the freedom of knowing that when you walk away, you are still there in his mind, looping in his memory, wrapped around his emotions. That is the power I am about to place in your hands. The human mind is designed to hold on to what stirs it most deeply. We don't remember everything we hear, but we remember the words that awaken emotion inside us. That is why certain phrases feel impossible to forget. They connect to something within us that feels alive, meaningful, and personal. When you learn to use words that carry this weight, you begin to shape not just what he hears, but what he feels every time he thinks of you. This is not about saying more or speaking louder. It is about speaking with precision, choosing words that cut through the noise of his daily life and anchor themselves in his memory. Psychologists often speak of emotional imprinting, the way our brains attach certain feelings to specific triggers. A song can remind you of a summer night years ago. A scent can bring back someone you loved. A simple word can reopen the door to a memory you thought was lost. This is how the mind works. It links experiences to emotions and repeats them over and over. The same principle applies in love. When you connect the right words to his emotions, he doesn't just hear them once. He replays them inside his mind over and over, long after you are gone. That is what makes words more powerful than beauty, more lasting than touch, more unforgettable than any grand gesture. This is where your strength lies. You do not need to push for attention. You do not need to chase him or compete for space in his world. By choosing words that stir his emotions, you create a loop that lives within him. He begins to associate you with comfort, with desire, with excitement. Even when he tries to focus on something else, his thoughts return to you because your words are tied to a feeling he craves. You become more than a person he knows. You become a presence he carries, and that presence is impossible to silence. The most magnetic connections are not forced, they are felt. And the most unforgettable people are not those who demand space, but those who quietly occupy it through the depth of what they communicate. Every word you speak has the potential to plant a seed. Every phrase has the power to awaken a feeling. When chosen carefully, when spoken with intention, these words stop being ordinary. They become anchors in his heart. They become sparks in his memory. They become reminders of you in every silent moment he spends away from you. This is why the 3 words you are about to learn matter so much. They are not ordinary words. They are keys that open doors in his mind you never imagined you could reach. They unlock his thoughts, his feelings, his desires, and tie them all back to you. And once he hears them from your lips, he will never forget them. The first of these words is simple, yet its impact is profound. That word is remember. When you invite someone to remember, you are not just asking them to think, you are guiding them back into an emotion. The human brain does not store memories as plain facts. It stores them wrapped in feelings, in colors, in sounds, in sensations. When he remembers something you shared, he is not only recalling it, he is reliving it. His heart beats the same way. His body feels the same way. His mind drifts into the same place it once was. This is why remember is such a powerful word. It awakens the past and makes it present again. When you use this word with intention, you create an emotional bridge that brings him closer without effort. You might remind him of a laugh you shared, of a glance that held meaning, of a moment when he felt alive with you. That single word pulls him back into the feeling of connection, and that feeling becomes tied to you. Each time he replays that memory, he does not just think of the moment. He thinks of you as the source of it. In his mind, you become the anchor to that emotion, and the more he revisits it, the more he craves it. The mind naturally craves repetition of what feels good. It seeks out the comfort of experiences that light up the heart. By saying remember, you are planting yourself inside his cycle of thought. Without realizing it, he starts to relive moments that draw him closer to you. He doesn't just recall what happened, he feels it all over again, and his desire to experience it once more grows stronger. You are no longer just part of his past, you become a force in his present. When you use this word with intention, you create an emotional bridge that brings him closer without effort. You might remind him of a laugh you shared, of a glance that held meaning, of a moment when he felt alive with you. That single word pulls him back into the feeling of connection, and that feeling becomes tied to you. Each time he replays that memory, he does not just think of the moment, he thinks of you as the source of it. In his mind, you become the anchor to that emotion, and the more he revisits it, the more he craves it. The mind naturally craves repetition of what feels good. It seeks out the comfort of experiences that light up the heart. By saying remember, you are planting yourself inside his cycle of thought. Without realizing it, he starts to relive moments that draw him closer to you. He doesn't just recall what happened, he feels it all over again, and his desire to experience it once more grows stronger. You are no longer just part of his past. You become a force in his present. This is not about manipulation. It is about awakening the truth of what already exists. Memories are powerful because they carry authenticity. They cannot be faked. They are felt. And when you remind him of them, you awaken what is real between you. That is why this word has so much weight. It takes what is invisible, the feeling he carries deep inside, and brings it into focus. It makes him aware of what he already feels, but perhaps could not name. Imagine the strength of knowing that one word can tie him back to a moment he never wants to forget. Imagine the certainty of knowing that when he drifts away in thought, he will hear your voice echoing, "Remember," and instantly his heart will replay what you shared. This is how the first word works. It transforms the fleeting into the permanent. It turns a passing moment into an unforgettable bond. It makes you live in his mind long after the moment has passed, because you are the one who gave life to the memory. ChatGPT said, the second word carries a different kind of power. It does not pull him back into the past. It pulls him forward into a vision of what could be. That word is imagine. When you invite someone to imagine, you awaken the most creative part of their mind, the part that paints pictures, builds desires, and writes the story of what is possible. Unlike memory, which ties him to what already happened, imagination ties him to what he longs for, what excites him, and what makes life feel limitless. When you say imagine, you do more than start a sentence. You open a doorway in his mind, and through that doorway, he begins to see a future with you in it. The brain does not distinguish strongly between what it vividly imagines and what it actually experiences. That is why a simple daydream can create real emotion, real longing, and real attachment. When you ask him to imagine, you guide his emotions into places he has not yet been but desperately wants to go. You give him permission to picture experiences that are tied to you. And once his mind goes there, once he begins to create that picture, it becomes harder to erase you from it. You are no longer just someone he knows. You become part of his vision, part of what he wants to live. This word awakens hope. It awakens curiosity. It awakens desire. It sparks questions in his mind. What would it feel like? What would it look like? What would it mean if this vision became real? And every time his imagination drifts into that space, he associates the possibility with you. You become the origin of that dream, the spark that made him see beyond the ordinary. This is how bonds are strengthened, not just by what was, but by what could be. Using this word with intention creates a rhythm in his thoughts. He begins to connect you with possibility, with excitement, with a sense of expansion in his life. The ordinary fades and the extraordinary comes alive, all because you invited him to step into his imagination. The more vivid the picture he builds, the stronger the emotional pull becomes. And each time he returns to that vision, he is not just thinking about a scenario, he is thinking about you as the one who made him dream it. There is no greater magnet for the human heart than hope. When he imagines, he feels hope. When he feels hope, he feels alive. And when he feels alive because of you, he cannot stay away from you. You become not only a memory in his past, but a vision in his future. That is the force of this second word. It does not remind him of what was. It makes him crave what can be. It ties you not just to his thoughts, but to his dreams. The third word holds a unique force because it goes beyond memory and beyond imagination. It gives your words weight, it makes them unquestionable, and it plants them firmly in his mind. That word is because. At first it seems ordinary, something we all use without thinking, but hidden inside it is a psychological power that few people ever notice. When you say because, you give his mind a reason to hold on to what you just said. You transform a passing statement into something that feels logical, meaningful, and necessary. His brain does not just hear the words, it accepts them, attaches to them, and repeats them. Humans are wired to seek reasons. We crave explanations for why something matters, why someone chooses us, why a connection feels different from all the rest. When you speak and follow your words with "because," you answer that craving. You don't leave your feelings hanging in the air, you anchor them with purpose, and that purpose stays. It is. Choose in his thoughts because the mind trusts what comes with a reason. You instantly move from sounding casual to sounding undeniable. He no longer hears just what you feel, he hears why you feel it, and that makes all the difference. When used with intention, this word builds a bridge between your heart and his mind. It fuses emotion with logic, making your presence both felt and understood. He cannot dismiss what you say because you have given his mind no space to question it. Instead, he processes it as truth. The power of because is that it locks your words into place. They stop being fleeting impressions and become convictions he carries with him. And every time he recalls them, he recalls you as the one who gave meaning to those words. This creates more than attraction, it creates trust. Trust is born when someone feels both the emotion and the reason behind it. When you say because, you show depth, you show clarity, you show that your words are not random, not empty but filled with intention. That is irresistible because people are drawn to those who make them feel both wanted and understood. And when he feels that from you, his thoughts return to you again and again because you are not just another voice in the noise, you are the one who made sense. The beauty of this word is that it requires no effort, no performance, no disguise. It is natural, and yet it carries impact far beyond its simplicity. It strengthens your voice, deepens your presence, and ensures you are remembered not only for what you say, but for why you said it. This is the quiet but undeniable magic of because. It makes your words unshakable. It makes your presence unforgettable. It ensures that in his mind, you are not just another fleeting thought. You are the reason he cannot let go. Now that you hold these 3 words in your hands, the true art lies in how you use them. Words alone are not enough if they feel empty or forced. Their power comes from the way they are woven naturally into your conversations, carried by tone, timing, and intention. The mind resists manipulation, but it opens completely to authenticity. That is why the most magnetic connections happen when these words are spoken with truth behind them. They must flow as part of who you are, not as lines rehearsed, but as feelings revealed. When you use them this way, they land deeply and they stay. Think about the rhythm of your voice when you say them, the way you pause before remember, the softness when you invite him to imagine, the conviction when you explain with because. Each word carries not just meaning, but energy. And that energy is what lingers in his mind long after the conversation is over. When spoken with presence, these words are not just sounds, they are experiences. He does not simply hear them, he feels them, and feelings are what bind us most powerfully to others. Blending them into daily interactions creates a pattern he cannot escape. A playful remember pulls him back into the warmth of a shared moment. A curious imagine lifts him into the excitement of a vision you planted. A thoughtful because makes your words feel irrefutable, giving him both emotion and reason to hold on to. The more naturally you use them, the more seamless the impact becomes. He won't notice the mechanics, but he will feel the effect, and that effect will make him return to you in his thoughts again and again. The strength of these words is not only in how they touch him, but also in how they transform you. When you learn to communicate this way, you stop doubting your presence. You stop worrying if you are enough, if he is paying attention, or if he will drift away. You beg, in to understand that you hold the ability to create unforgettable moments with your voice alone. That confidence radiates through you, and it only deepens the impact of the words when you speak them. Your energy becomes aligned with your intention, and nothing is more powerful than that. This is where you realize that you do not need to beg for his attention or compete for his love. You already carry what makes you unforgettable. These words are not tricks. They are tools that awaken emotions he cannot ignore. They allow you to step into every interaction with calm certainty, knowing you can create connection without forcing it. And once you speak this way, he will not just think of you, he will feel you, replaying your voice, reliving your words, and craving your presence more than ever before. ChatGPT said, "When you bring these words together, you create a harmony that is almost impossible to resist. Each one works on a different level of his mind, and when combined, they form a cycle that keeps you alive in his thoughts. Remember ties him to the past, making him relive the moments that made him feel connected to you. Imagine pulls him into the future, filling his mind with visions that link his desires to you. Because grounds everything in the present, giving his heart and mind a reason to hold on tightly to what you say. Together they form a triangle of memory, vision, and meaning, a complete circle of influence that surrounds his emotions and locks you into his inner world." This cycle is powerful because it satisfies the deepest needs of the human heart. People want to feel rooted in moments that matter. They want to dream about possibilities that excite them, and they want reasons that make those feelings feel true. By giving him all three, you are no longer just a part of his life. You become the one who gives shape to his emotions. You are the past he cherishes, the future he longs for, and the present he trusts. That combination is irresistible because it touches him on every level that matters. When used with intention, these words create not just attraction but depth. They elevate your presence from casual to unforgettable. He begins to notice that conversations with you feel different. They stay with him longer, they echo louder, and they stir him deeper than words from anyone else. He cannot explain why, but he knows that you affect him in a way that others do not. And that mystery, that sense of being pulled toward you without control, only makes you more magnetic in his eyes. The transformation you create is not only in him, it is also in you. You step into your own power when you realize that your voice carries this kind of impact. You stop seeking validation outside yourself because you know you already have the ability to move him, to influence his thoughts, and to anchor yourself in his heart. That self-assurance radiates through everything you do, and it becomes part of the attraction itself. He feels the confidence in your words, and it makes him lean in closer, wanting more of what only you can give. This is the beauty of these three words. They are simple, yet they carry layers of influence. They require no force, no pressure, no struggle. They work quietly, naturally, weaving themselves into his thoughts, until you are not just a passing figure in his life. You are the one he cannot stop thinking about. And once this cycle begins, it is almost impossible to break because it is built on emotion, imagination, and truth. This is where everything changes for you. Once you realize the force carried in your words, you no longer wonder if you are enough or if he will drift away. You begin to understand that the power to stay in his mind has always been yours. It does not come from competing with others. It does not come from trying harder. It comes from speaking with clarity and purpose. Every time you use these words, you remind him of who you are. You awaken what he feels, and you give him a reason to hold on to it. You stop chasing and start attracting, because attraction is born when someone cannot forget the way you make them feel. The truth is, people do not remember everything about us. They remember how we made them feel. They remember the words that echoed louder than silence, the phrases that tied meaning to their emotions. When you speak with this kind of depth, you step into a space most never reach. You are no longer just part of a conversation, you are part of his inner dialogue, the voice he hears in his quiet moments. And when you occupy that space, you create a bond that does not fade. What makes this transformation so powerful is that it is not forced. It is not about trying to change who you are or pretending to be someone else. It is about aligning with the strength that was already within you, the strength to use your words with intention, to communicate in a way that lingers. You already carry this ability, but now you know how to unlock it. And when you do, you will see how quickly things shift. You will see how he leans in closer, how his attention deepens, how his thoughts return to you even when you are apart. There is nothing more magnetic than a woman who knows the weight of her voice. She does not beg for love. She does not fight for space. She simply speaks in a way that cannot be forgotten. That kind of presence changes the dynamic entirely. It makes you the one he thinks about before he falls asleep, the one he remembers when he wakes, the one who lives in his imagination throughout the day. Not because you demanded it, but because you created it with the way you spoke. And now the choice is yours. You can let your words remain ordinary, or you can breathe intention into them and let them become unforgettable. You can continue wondering if he will think of you, or you can step into your power and ensure that he does. The moment you choose to use this gift, everything begins to shift. You no longer wonder if you matter. You know you do, because you are the voice he cannot silence, the presence he cannot escape, and the thought he cannot let go.